going on, y'all? It's your boy KP, and it's another Thursday with another live stream. And over the course of the past 2 weeks, I had two really fantastic conversations with two amazing females. Like, we had Jess Ader-Ferretti, who talked a little bit about her experience rehearsing for and performing in Jagged Little Pill over at Smithtown Performing Arts Center. That is running until April 19th. Unless there's an extension. All right, I heard a little rumor about a possible extension. So, we have to, keep our eyes peeled for that. But I also had a great conversation with Christine Fitzgerald, who has started her own theater group company, like whatever you want to call it, with her husband, Sean, that really focuses on, children living with disabilities and making sure that we are creating an inclusive space for them as well. So, two very different but really awesome conversations, and I can't wait to share them with you. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it and let the music play. So in addition to the great conversations that I have, we also have a little bit of What's the Buzz coming up, right? That's going to be at the end of the stream this evening, kind of discussing some of the shows that are opening and closing this weekend, as well as discussing some of the auditions that were announced over the past couple of weeks. So, without further ado, here is some of my conversation with Jess Ader-Ferretti. It was so nice to sit down and connect with her after all this time, right? Because I've known Jess for, oh my gosh, there was some contention about this, right? She thinks it's a little bit more than 20 years. I don't think so, right? I think we're just about at 20. But, whatever to that. But, she knows my high school best friend because we used to go clubbing in the gay clubs together. All right. Thank you very much. We were loud and proud even years ago. But so it was really nice to sit down and talk with her one-on-one about just some of the things she's got going on theater-wise, why theater has become just so important to her and why this particular show is important. So again, you can catch our full conversation up on the website tonight at 10 o'clock, but here's a little bit of what we chatted about. MJ Healy in the Long Island premiere of Jagged Little Pill, based off of the music of Alanis Morissette. Tell me some things about the show. Obviously, I've been a few times, but anyone who's not familiar, what is this show about and what can they expect if they come down?
You're our biggest fan. I've seen many people this show digs into some pretty heavy stuff. I think we've had a couple people be like, well, who's Alanis? No one's Alanis.
No one's Alanis. Alanis is the show.
Alanis is the show. Her music, it's probably one of the most well-placed, jukebox musicals. And I cringe even using that term, right? Because I think it's just really good use of profound and beautiful songs, sort of centering around some really difficult themes. So basically, long story short, right, without any spoiler alerts, it follows the Healy family. I play the matriarch of the Healy family, and it becomes a community in crisis. And the Healy family really is the representation of that community in crisis. And I can't even take credit for it. That's all Patrick Campbell, right? That's his line, so I'll give him credit. But I just think that they've really become just a bit of a microcosm for everything going on around them. And the show deals with, addiction and sexual assault and LGBTQIA problems and issues. And it kind of tugs on the heartstrings of many different areas of issues that people have trouble talking about.
I want to kind of circle back to something you said about calling it a jukebox musical, right? I had such a hard time even writing my review around this because it is so not that, but it falls in that category just because of what it does, the mechanics of it. But the way that this show is constructed, it is not your quintessential jukebox musical where it's oh, we really like this song, so we want to work into the show and let's make some kind of story around it so there's some loose connection. That is absolutely not what this was. If someone didn't tell you this was Alanis's music, you wouldn't know it because everything was so perfectly placed. The show is just constructed so well. Never mind your particular production, but just Jagged Little Pill as a show is
It's
really
smart.
fantastic. Yeah.
You know, like Alanis is such a profound writer. Admittedly, I'm
Hmm.
a very big Alanis fan and always have been. I get to see her this summer again. Um, but I think that they took her stories, right? Her music is all her own storytelling. It's so deeply personal. And they constructed characters out of one person's story. And they sort of
Hmm.
revealed, okay, well, MJ's going to deal with this. Frankie, you know, the daughter's going to deal with this. But they all form from like the album Jagged Little Pill and the story of Jagged Little Pill. And then pull from some of her other albums as well. But really use like her life's experience to tell a more fully formed story in a like theatrical way.
Yeah, I love it, and I think it's fantastically done. Um, so MJ Healy is like the matriarch of the story, right? What interested you in this role? Like, what really like drew you to it? What interested you in playing this?
I mean, we have a lot in common, unfortunately. You know, I I'm an addict, right? I'm somebody who's been clean for 15 years or coming up on 15 years. I have experienced sexual assault. I'm a mom of two. Um, she just really resonates with me, and it's so interesting to sort of like live out your own experiences in this very safe and cathartic way. And I was a little like nervous. She's always been a dream role of mine. Like I've had
Mm-hmm.
a series of dream roles, and like this was one of the top ones. And I've always said if I ever get to do it, like I will be all in on it, and I'm really nervous. Um, but yeah, I was drawn to her. We could take the music out of the equation because that's like a no-brainer, right? I get to sing some of the greatest songs that I know. But her actual life is just so correlative to my own that it was just this deep passion that I wanted to portray that in a totally new way that had nothing to do with me.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I want to get into, even in this conversation. You know, a lot of us we do theater because it removes us from our real life, right? And we find it we find a little bit of a release, as much as it is for the audience who comes to see it. It's like, oh, I had a really crappy day. I can't wait to get to rehearsal and have a few laughs.
Yeah.
That isn't what this show is. So, what have you found to be like most challenging about the rehearsal process and now the performance of it?
So the rehearsal process is amazing, right? Because there are some people in the show who I love with every inch of my heart. There are people in the show that I've done a million shows with. You have Courtney O'Shea, Mike Crolder, Becca Martowski, James O'Connor. I'm doing Lisa Nasso. Like there's just some incredible people. Evan Torres, like people that I love so deeply as my friends. So while the rehearsal process was challenging because of the content, we're still laughing, right? We're still being
Mm-hmm.
idiots and having a great
Good.
time. I think one of the biggest challenges was finding the right time to be all in. You know, I think we all made a conscious effort from the beginning to say like, we can't half-ass this, right? If we're going to do it and do it effectively, we have to come into these rehearsals being comfortable crying in front of each other. We have to come into these rehearsals very honest. We have to be willing to share stories when relevant and really not gatekeep any pieces of ourselves around each other to make this as impactful as, you know, we're hearing across the board that it is. And then to have like a leader like Patrick Campbell, right, really creating this super safe environment, it's allowed for that. But I think staying in that mentality of like, we have to be all in, you know, yeah, we can dick around and have a good time, but like now it's, you know, it's playtime in its own sense, but now it's time to like really get into it. And I think that was an interesting line because there's so many
Mm-hmm.
things that we do where you can stay fun and light and silly, right? Like I'm coming from this from Legally Blonde. We had a great time.
Right.
Silly, it's fun, right? There's nothing that's like breaking your heart about it. And I think finding ways to allow this show and this rehearsal process to break your heart and be okay with that was really challenging and is really challenging. Continuing to perform it's challenging.
Mm-hmm. So, what was the drive home like after rehearsals?
Well, I will, and she'll be so happy that I'm saying it. I'm going to give Courtney O'Shea big credit for something right now.
Yeah,
Um,
give it to her.
I'm gonna give it to her. She's the best. So Courtney joked early on in this rehearsal process, like, "What do you do after this? Like, what do you like? Do we just
Right, right.
what do we do?" And she was like, "I think we should go to Buffalo Wild Wings. Like, should we just like go to B Dubs and like get filthy ass wings?" And all of us were like, "Yeah, like maybe." And I'll tell you what we did on opening. We went to Buffalo Wild Wings. Like
Mm.
that is we're tired, so sometimes we definitely do just like drive home in silence and not speak to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we really try to decompress together.
Yeah. Because I find that to be something that I know I would struggle with. Like,
Yeah.
what does Tuesday of Tech Week look
Oh
like?
shit.
Right? Because, like, you're not going out for food after that, right? We know that we have work the next day. Like, we still have to operate as people. You're a mom, right? You have to show up for like three other people every
Oh my
single day,
God. Man, I was
right?
so
So,
happy my kids like weren't on school break during tech week. Like sometimes
mm,
I've had it line up where like a tech week lines up with a school break and I'm just like, oh fuck, like how do I
yeah.
can't how? Like my kids are awesome. They're the best. They're 4 and 6. They're super
Mhm.
fun. But those are like the times where I'm like, I'm very thankful for public education.
Right, right.
Oh, very thankful. This show was very much like I'm gonna just take it really easy on myself and give
Hmm.
myself whatever level of grace I need. And I tried really hard to do that.
Did you take? So we talked about some of the harder parts of playing a role this heavy, but what's been the most rewarding thing for you?
I think the catharsis, like it has been so like lovely to just walk away being like, wow, I wept for like the last hour and I feel really good.
Yeah.
And like again being surrounded by some of these people and doing that with them and like getting to see some of my like best friends in that way has been so rewarding because everybody's just really opened their hearts.
Hmm.
And then of course having people come up to me and share their stories. I've had a lot of
Mm.
people come up and say, I really this resonates with me. I'm an SA survivor, or this resonates with me. I'm an addict, and whether I choose to share my own story back or not is kind of irrelevant. But feeling like I've put something out there that makes people want to talk to me or feel comfortable talking to me has been really rewarding and really
Really?
special.
Yeah, I'm sure. Now, when you think of the production as a whole, what is your favorite moment in the show that you're not a part of?
That I'm not a part of. It's
Yeah.
You Ought to Know. I
Mm.
mean, Lisa Nasso is just they are such a star, man. Like
Hmm.
everything they do on that stage is gold, and then they have this big moment of You Ought to Know, and like a part of me is like, why even bother coming back out after? There's some Uninvited is after that. There's still some pretty good stuff after
There's a
that.
lot of good stuff after
There's a
that,
lot of
but
good stuff, but You Ought to Know is just really special, and it's just like you feel it, like the audience is just in awe of them. It's so cool.
mhm. Yeah, You Want to Know is a really, really awesome moment. I will say that was one of the songs that I was waiting for because I am even less than a casual fan of Alanis. Like I just don't know her, like her music, but
Really?
yeah, really. Yeah. Now, sitting there, I was like, oh, I've heard this. I've heard that. Like, I realized I was a little bit more familiar than I thought I was. But
Good.
as a whole, like Uninvited and some of these other songs, like I didn't know them. Like Jagged Little Pill was not. Now Tommy was sitting out there rocking out. He's like, oh, this is my shit. And it's like I didn't know a lot of these things. So I was waiting for You Ought to Know, and I was absolutely not disappointed. So many kudos to Lisa because they really knocked it out of the park, quite honestly.
Do you think you'll get into Alanis now?
I walked away from opening thinking, I don't know, this is still like mine. And then, but after I came back, it's like, well, I might actually dive in now because now I'm interested because the lyrical content too. Like the
Sure.
style of music is not super me,
Sure.
right? But
You don't like lesbian 90s like alt rock, that's not you.
yeah, no, not not so
Yeah.
much, no. but the lyrics themselves, like the way that she tells a story in the song, that really speaks to me.
Yeah.
We're not just singing angsty things for the sake of being angsty. Like there's something behind all of this stuff, and yeah, no, I could see that shifting over some
I'm gonna
time.
send you songs. She's profound. There's a
Yeah, I need a proper playlist. Child, as your favorite big back brother, I can absolutely tell you that we did not get to be this size by eating bad food. And when I'm looking for good chicken, there's only one place that I'm going, and that's Hot Chicken Mama over in Blue Point. Yes, ma'am? Yes, ma'am. Who opens up a small business in the middle of a pandemic and is still standing to talk about it over 5 years later? Okay? The proof is in the receipts. So if you're looking for some good chicken in the form of a sandwich or a tender, I know you better be at Hot Chicken Mama. Thank you so much to Jess Ader-Ferretti for joining us here on the Kyle Petty Show. I had so much fun talking to you about Jagged Little Pill, and I want everyone to have that same experience, right? So check out the KylePettyShow.com later this evening at 10 p.m. when the full conversation drops. We got into a lot of different things, and it was a lot of fun. So thank you so much for spending the time to catch up with me. Um, my next guest is Christine Fitzgerald. I spoke about her a little bit at the beginning of the stream. She is what a powerhouse. She's so passionate about theater. Again, working with people with disabilities and making sure that theater remains an inclusive space for all. And this conversation really meant a lot to me. So I'm really happy that I got to connect with Christine one on one and on this level. So here's a little bit of my recent conversation with Christine Fitzgerald. Connected us was that special feature I did a few weeks ago talking about how the relationship between theater performers and the theaters that we perform at is a reciprocal relationship, right? Everyone gets to benefit in that one. So
Yes.
tell me a little bit more about what that conversation. I'm hesitant to call it conversation because I was talking to myself. Right? But like, what about that topic, really resonated with you?
Well, I think because the autism part of my brain is very rigid and regimented and notices patterns, and then the ADHD part of my brain is kind of like, wee. Um, you put the two together, and I am very often thinking of a lot of different perspectives. So hearing you talk about the theater perspective as well as the actor perspective, I thought was so wonderful because too often we are limiting ourselves to one perspective and we don't really try to look at what is this side of the coin experiencing versus just my perspective. And so just to kind of augment what you had already said in that video, that I was so appreciative of you sharing both perspectives. There's two other perspectives that I also want to just kind of throw into that mix.
Yeah.
And so one of them is that the audience is also a part of that reciprocal experience because they are spending hard-earned money and sometimes money they don't have to spare for the arts because they appreciate what we do. They appreciate what the theaters offer. They appreciate live art. And that is so important because if we don't have the theater, we don't have a place to perform. If we don't have the actors, the theaters would close. But if we don't have if we don't have the audience,
Yeah.
all of us would have nothing left to do,
Nothing.
right? Like the
Yeah.
performers wouldn't have anyone to perform to. The theaters would close because nobody's paying. So if we don't include the audience in the conversation of how reciprocal it all is, then I think we're really being short-sighted in the limiting beliefs of those perspectives.
Mm. And I love that you brought that up because that does bring me into my next question, right? There are so many different types of adults and different types of theater goers. And
Yes.
I understand that you are the line leader for what I believe is the first time a main stage production is being presented with a sensory sensitive performance. We usually see this a lot in children's theater. So tell me a little bit more, or tell us a little bit more about what makes a sensory sensitive performance different.
Thank you so much for asking that. Gosh, there's so much to say about it because
Mm,
sensory friendly is kind of like when Autism Awareness Month was first shared. Awareness was all we were asking for. Please be aware that autism exists. Please be aware that we struggle and we also have strengths. Like
mm,
both things can exist.
yeah.
And so sensory friendly is wonderful. It is. It's wonderful. And as someone who is autistic and also has two profoundly autistic brothers, so my entire
Mm,
life has been shaped by autism, truly. In addition to working in the field for 25 plus years, my entire life has been adjusted
mm,
by having growing up with and working with folks that are autistic. And so sensory sensitive is really, really what we need to work towards, all of us, because awareness is wonderful as a beginning step, but acceptance is the destination. So it is time for all of us as humans, as theaters, as artists, to really go beyond the sensory friendly and go to sensory sensitive. And that means partnering with folks that actually have sensory sensitivities the way CM has, because it is phenomenal, really, truly phenomenal. Um, how willing Mark over at CM, he's the CEO there, how willing he was in conversation with me to say, okay, so you want announcements made before something scary might happen or something really loud and jarring. You want to lower volumes. You don't want to turn the lights all the way up the way is very common in sensory friendly performances, because the point that I made to him is if all the house lights are up, folks that have attention struggles are not watching the stage, they're watching each other. There's somebody moving over here, there's something happening over there. Somebody has a snack across the room that I want, so I'm going to pay attention to that. And that person is suddenly no longer attending to the action on the stage. They are attending to other things. And also, something really important to think about is when folks struggle and have meltdowns, and they might be crying. They might be struggling in different ways that I don't need to enumerate because the folks that know.
Mhm.
Um, we're then taking away their dignity by having it happen with lights fully up. Instead of granting them, lower the lights as much as possible with a dim light. And that way people can move about the theater as they need to. But if somebody is struggling and having a meltdown, everyone can't see it. It's not on full display for the volunteers and the actors and the community members in the audience and the staff. Like, it's just so public. And that's part of why families with people with profound disabilities are not coming to theaters. Not because they don't want to, not because they don't deserve that space and that entertainment, but because they don't feel safe to do so.
Mhm. Mhm.
I remember my family went to go see Oklahoma at Gateway forever ago, and my brother did not understand intermission. And when Act Two started and it's the giant Oklahoma number, he stood up in the middle of the theater and yelled out, "Goodbye, Oklahoma, goodbye!" Because he didn't understand, like, why are
Right.
we still here? This
Mhm.
this is not what I want to be doing. And so I think that the sensory sensitive performance truly is creating a space that is informed. I'm going to be doing a workshop with the volunteers, the actors, the production team to help them understand this is how our community needs to be embraced, accepted, acknowledged, and the actions we can take to actually support them with love and also knowledge. Because I think there's so many people that are really, really well intentioned and it's beautiful, but sometimes actions, intentions, and impact are very, very different.
That's a fantastic response. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. And I know that main stage productions are really not really what you're most passionate about, right? We got a lot of passion there, but like children's theater is what really speaks to you.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about why children's theater is so special to you.
Oh my gosh. So I look at creators like Jim Henson, Mr. Rogers, Miss Rachel, um, LeVar Burton from Reading Rainbow. I mean,
Reading
that's
Rainbow.
right. I mean, come on. In the
Yeah.
song, I can be anything. Just take a look.
Yeah.
It's in a book. Like, come on. When you look at all of those entertainers, those artists that were so formative in our growing up and in the generations to follow, when you plant a seed within a child to love the arts, to want to be an artist or a puppeteer or a singer or just a good human, it changes the trajectory of the world. And if we don't need that now, I don't know. So to me, children's theater is one of the most important ways that we as artists can influence young people. and also their families. Because when we look at not just children's theater, which sometimes has a really bad reputation, we look at it as theater for young audiences. And when we do that, especially if we are creating theater that is meant to be intergenerational, multi-generational, bring your teenagers, bring your parents, bring your grandparents, bring your cousins, and that there is something for everyone. Like why are Pixar movies so popular? Not because they're telling one straightforward story, but because when you go see Toy Story 5, it is going to be talking about screen time for children and teenagers and adults and grandparents. And that really is the future of theater for young audiences. It is engaging the entire family in conversation, in entertainment, in social change.
Fantastic. Oh, I love it. Now, you really dedicated a lot of your life to children's theater productions, especially through your production company, Our Love Fits. Tell us a little bit about what your mission statement is and what you think separates you from other theater production companies and groups.
Yeah, thank you. So, Our Love Fits Productions was founded by Sean and myself. We like to call ourselves partners in life and all things creative. And we our mission statement or our vision statement, we're kind of informal, the two of us, but
Hmm.
our vision for theater and anything that we create together is building community through art from the heart for humans of all ages. And that's really important to us because sometimes what we offer young audiences is not art from the heart, it's something else. And so we really feel like it's so important that anything we do is rooted in love, it's rooted in our awareness as neurodivergent creators. Um, a lot of the work that we do is informed by looking at who is undervalued, right? Like I'm kind of tired of saying like marginalized or underrepresented or under-resourced. Like let's be honest. Like BIPOC, AAPI, queer, trans, disabled, neurodivergent folks, like all of those people are undervalued as artists. And so I'm not really trying to say I want to tell other people's stories. It's more like I really want to cast and create and promote and uplift stories that are not being told often enough.
Yeah. Oh man, that's great. Um, and you've done so by writing your own production,
Yeah.
right? So you've now produced Boo, a musical adventure, for several years now. Tell us a
Yes.
little bit more about this show.
So if you are looking for a cute kid show for your elementary aged kids, Boo, a musical adventure is a Halloween treat that is going to take you through the town of Hauntington. We're going to sing some cute songs and you're going to see a ton of puppets that have all been handmade by Sean. If you are looking for a story that is about self-doubt, overthinking, anxiety, panic attacks, being neurodivergent, maybe struggling with your mental health, this is also for those folks. If you're a parent or a grandparent who wants to be really touched by something that they are bringing their kids and grandkids and nieces and nephews and neighbors and anybody to, this is also for you because there's songs and moments and messages in there that are such basic. We call it human connection, which is funny because it's usually a puppet and a human. Um,
Yes.
but just like Mr. Rogers, just like Jim Henson, all of those iconic moments of a human connecting with a Muppet, oh, not a Muppet, a puppet or a Muppet, is showing us this is what we can be capable of when we get called in with love. And so it's an invitation from Sean and I with all of the beautiful, tremendously talented actors. We had Ellen Dumlau, Danny Bishop, uh, Geo Marine, Ma Singh, uh, Shayna Stroh, Stephen Charles. Like, I mean, honestly, when you look at the
Yeah.
people that we have worked with over the years, Steve Corbellini, Jim Sluter, Brian Gill, I mean, it's unbelievable when people look at our cast, they often say, "What are you doing to get these actors with this biography in your productions?"
And what is your answer to them?
Well, no one's ever asked me that. It's so funny. Brendan Noble, who is also not only, okay, oh my gosh, poor Brendan. I just remembered I didn't say his name. Brendan has been with us since 2023. Brendan is amazing. Oh my gosh, I love him. He is usually the person, because he's doing shows in different theaters. He's all over the place. He was
Busy
someone
man.
that said, you know something? How, like, you're a part of Boo. How do these people wrangle all these different actors? And the truth of the matter is, we treat every performing artist and every technical artist like an artist. We are very open and honest. We have community agreements that we start our production with. We have like a welcome kickoff, and we say, these are the agreements. From us to you, from you to us, to each other. This is a reciprocal experience, and it is an ongoing conversation. And it's not perfect. Please, like, I have to be very.
Thank you so much to Christine for joining me here on the Kyle Petty Show. Of course, you can catch the full conversation on the website at thekylepettyshow.com later this evening at 10 o'clock. We got into a number of different things. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. But what's next? I gotta let you know what the buzz is.
I asked if we should document our studio session and make like a documentary.
Susie's world is starting to crumble down. She's so fucking clueless that she can't look around. I wish I loved anything like she loves the sound of Daddy's little princess and Mommy's little nightmare.
What's the buzz? Well, I can tell you what's happening. Okay, so this is what we have going on in Long Island Theater this weekend. CM is Dark this weekend. They have Jersey Boys opening next weekend on Saturday, the 18th. But Theater 3, they're opening the 39 Steps this weekend, April 11th on Saturday. So go check that out. We had my good friend Jay Hughes on the podcast a few weeks ago discussing the 39 Steps. You can catch that on the KylePettyShow.com as well. You can find out a little bit more about the show and like everything that they do in it. Smithtown Performing Arts Center, as we said before, is continuing their run of Jagged Little Pill. They close on April 19th, and this is the first weekend they're being presented to you on a Friday. Okay, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you can go to Smithtown. Almost said a different theater name there. But you can go to Smithtown and check them out. You can get your tickets at smithtownpac.org. What else do we have? Cap Syosset. They are opening their TYA version of Willy Wonka this Saturday. And Jesus Christ Superstar opens on May 2nd. All right. Kyle Petty Show pal Domenick Napoli will be starring in that one. And if you don't want to wait to catch Dominic in something, you can head on down to Cap Merrick, where he is starring in the School of Rock. I keep saying the School of Rock. It's not the. It's just School of Rock. School of Rock. But like, wouldn't you do the same if you were reading these things off like me? Like, come on, give me some credit here. School of Rock, they're continuing their run over at Cap Merrick, and they're closing on April 26th. So you've got some time, but not a whole lot. You know, we all fall into that trap, all right? So get there if you can. Get there sooner than later. What else do we have that's rather timely? James Street Players. They are opening their production of Jesus Christ Superstar on April 17th. Okay, so that is next weekend, but take note, because that's a shorter run. Eastline Theater is opening their production of Appropriate over at Becca Arts Center in Lindenhurst. That's happening this weekend, Saturday the 11th. And Manus Studio Theater. kind of forgot them. So sorry. But like they are back. They've got Dial M for Murder, and our good sis Katie Ferretti is in that one. So give that a gander. And in terms of some other things going on, there were some auditions that were announced over the past week. I know I mentioned Cap Sayasa doing Bring It On. That was some time ago. Those auditions are coming up. South Shore Theater Experience, they announced their auditions for Urinetown. I think we've already discussed CM's auditions for Hairspray. Those are coming up, and Cap Sayasa is auditioning Hair. You can get all the information about those shows on thekylepettyshow.com and click the auditions page because it is updated. You're welcome. And with that, I think we're done, right? So thank you for supporting The Kyle Petty Show, and thank you for supporting live theater here on Long Island. Thank you once again to Jess Ader-Ferretti and Christine Fitzgerald for hanging out with me, spending some time. Once again, you can catch the full conversations dropping on the website and all of my socials at 10 p.m. this evening. And thank you very much. Go out, be safe, and be merry. Thanks a lot.